1. Countdown.
Sexy billionaire philanthropist, genius hacker. How many faces did Drake possess?
Jenny Kyler, Black Hack number 1, pulled. I looked up from the thousands of lines of code scrolling on my laptop screen. The last of my colleagues had just left, leaving me alone in the darkened open space of EM Tech's R&D department. My hands slid away from the keyboard, and I leaned back in my chair, gazing at the skyscrapers surrounding our building, sparkling checkerboards illuminating a mild night in April. It was 8:30, and Alex's plane had landed in JFK half an hour ago, after a week-long business trip in Cambodia, punctuated by increasingly longing text messages. I grabbed the smartphone resting on my desk, opening the Messages app with a swipe of my thumb. A youthful face framed by messy brown locks and sculpted by a week's worth of stubble appeared on screen. Under a picture of Alex, grinning at my phone's camera during our second date 2 months prior, were the last messages he had sent before leaving Phnom Penh. A pic of skewered roasted cockroaches, surrounded by plates of other miscellaneous entomological notes, a mention that he hadn't slept much last night, that he thought of me. My hand let go of the phone to bunch the cotton of my dress. I stared down at my lap, as if the navy paisley might hold the answers I was looking for. Maybe not. I eventually slammed my laptop shut, shoved it inside my black tote, and left my desk. Once in the silent hallway, I scanned the long row of perfectly similar frosted glass doors. Through one of them, a dim light still shone. Even though he was EM Tech's director of R&D, and therefore my boss, I never needed to announce myself before entering Thomas Roth's office, because no one else knocked the beat of the Imperial March at his door.
You should be home. Come in.
A smile stirred the corners of my lips at his laconic greeting. I pushed the door open and went to plop myself in one of the chairs across from him, taking in the piles of papers, scientific magazines, and odd gadgets cluttering his desk. Few of my acquaintances could boast of possessing a last-generation Now robot or an accurate Lego model of the Millennium Falcon. He seemed to ignore me at first. His entire attention was focused on the dual screen in front of him, long fingers scratching sparse and short blonde hair, when they weren't busy constantly readjusting his small round glasses over and over. I didn't mind. I knew he meant no contempt. Many at EM Tech regarded Tom as this secretive, Gollum-like figure who spent most of his time curled up in his office, hiding behind the piles of resumes he received from young engineers desperate to join his team. As his Dotar Sojat, though, I was allowed past the curtain of his introversion, and therefore enjoyed a different perspective of the man behind the Legos. Tom had handpicked me 2 years prior, freshly out of Columbia Engineering. Back then, I'd been, and still was to some extent, a machine. Few friends, no life, and the winning, gap-toothed, smile of an overachiever who craved validation from teachers and superiors. I would work up to 14 hours a day if fed enough donuts, and show up even for the meetings no one wanted to show up to, which eventually led me to conduct an entire keynote alone in front of 10 empty chairs. That was in early November, by the way, a few weeks after my adventure with March. I had seen my entire existence unravel in less than a week, and I had yet to fully recover from the ordeal. Physically, of course, but also emotionally, since I still thought of him 24/7. Took me 15 minutes to realize there was no one in the room, and I finished my presentation anyway.